And on top of that, we have a lot of potential things that are hanging out there, promises that are made that are still waiting to come together. Among them, you guys all know Steve Neighbors, the guy who's planning this big downtown development thing that was in the paper on Friday. Everybody familiar with that?
Yes.
He's investing $250 million, or at least he wants to, and he's proposed to the city to invest $250 million in a downtown entertainment venue, a new nugget casino, workplace housing, luxury condos, a conference center, and a brand new city hall, and a parking garage, all in that property that is between the Capitol building and the coin shop.
Oh, okay.
Right? So he's planning a lot of that. And he's a big supporter of what we do here as well. And he's promised us a lot of things, including a healthy donation that isn't figured into that $55,000 yet. And I can't. And
Hey, Steve. My technical glitch there. I'm sorry to be late.
well, it's okay. We're just kind of catching up on the news. So the news is that things are going pretty well with the funder, but reaching $450,000 by the end of June looks like still a very heavy lift, and whether we do it or not is still in question. But we do have a couple of people in the community. Harvey Whittemore, I don't know if that's a name everybody understands. Harvey was a big player politically in the area, and he's a developer in Reno. And he's working to help us get connected to some big granting organizations, though we know that grants are not going to help us in this short time frame that we have. There's no way we can get the applications in and get them processed in 4 months' time. So that's not really an option for us. But Steve has offered us, if we have to move, he's offered us free rent for 3 years in a building up on Northgate, where the Ron Wood Family Services are located. We could get 1,800 square feet in there. We just have to move our operations and set up there. And he would give that to us rent-free for 3 years. And then if we want to stay longer than that, he would give us half market rate rent for all time.
Ah, that's good.
So I mean, that's huge, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's a bailout.
Because about 2,300, split
Right,
that in
so
half.
that's gigantic.
What kind of facility is that?
It's a single story with a clean shot at our tower. It's just, they put a brand new roof on it 2 years ago. And, it's in kind of an industrial area, right? But,
It's right behind where the theater is.
yeah, exactly, right behind where the cinemas are.
Where
The old cinemas.
Yeah, and where Harbor Freight Tools is and all that stuff over there. So it's in that neighborhood, right? And then on top of that, what he told me was, during those 3 years, provided that the city approves my plan and I break ground right away and start building this thing downtown, he says, I'll build you brand new studios right into that thing in the heart of downtown where their entertainment and everything is going to be going on. So, I mean, that's a big promise. That's a big promise. And he's a guy who is known for big promises and for keeping them. So
Can't we get that in writing, though?
I have it in an email
There you go.
in general terms, right?
Okay.
But that's all.
That's doable.
And he's going to be on Tom's show on Friday. And Lori is working with him to get some news out. And he's also going to write underwriting for us because he wants people in the community to know what he wants to do. He wants to get the message out about how he wants to help the community, and so we'll help him do that with an underwriting schedule. So there's all of that. But none of that changes the fact that we need to raise money, because even if we have to move, it's going to cost us a pretty dang nickel, and it's going to take some time. So that would be something we have to plan for. So either way, that's why we've asked you here tonight to share ideas, to just throw stuff at the wall. We'll make a record of it here on this board. Who wants to begin? Who's got an idea to start with? CJ.
Well, I gave the suggestion of doing an online bingo where you don't pay any money or anything. The intent is to steer it to please donate. And you actually do a bingo, 3 bingo games, and a scavenger hunt inside their house in their pajamas with their hot toddies and stuff. Oh my God, it's hilarious. It's a blast and a half. And it encourages people to donate more.
So you've done this before.
Oh, yeah.
So you have a model. It's a thing we can do.
It's something we can do.
What kind of costs are attached to that?
There's nothing because the cards are free. It's maximum. The only thing that's a glitch that I need to find out about is it's maximum up to 100 participants at one time.
Okay.
So, and I
maybe
have
we
the
would do a
Zoom.
series of them.
Yeah,
Do them
exactly.
every week for the month of April or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Okay. So maybe that's weekly.
weekly
And
bingo
that's
night.
online, so
Yeah.
there's no.
No, they sit in their pajamas. I was even going to suggest a midnight one where we could do it live.
That'd be a ton of fun.
That would be great.
All right, great idea. Thank you for that one.
all right.
That's where we start. Who else? Greg.
As far as, we have fundraising program already begun, let's just say. We can adapt this to moving to our new location.
You talk about the GoFundMe.
About the GoFundMe,
Yeah.
right. Just change to, moving to our new location, and, we'll have to update the Adams House thing, and just say, hey, we've come to the decision that Adams House is not feasible for us to purchase. However, we do have some plans, we do have an opportunity here that we can take advantage of, but it's still going to cost us quite a bit to move.
Right.
Right.
To make this move, all of our furniture, all of our CDs, all of our studio in particular.
And just so everybody knows, Joe Bly, who's only got short time with us, he has to bail for another thing he's working on. But Joe's working on a timeline and a budget to make a move like that too.
Good.
So we've got that ball rolling as
So
well.
we'll know how much it's gonna cost them.
Right.
I've already, in today's post, I did kind of slightly tweak the message to saying we are kind of under a time limit to secure a home.
Right.
And, that's starting to gently suggest it may not be here,
Good.
but it's going to be a home for us.
And I think we've kind of, in our messaging, we've never actually said it's only about buying this house. We've always said it's, we want to buy this house,
Yes.
but, so
Yes,
the
so-
but has always
Logic.
been in there.
Logic and timeline.
Whole 425 to stay?
You
Well,
know,
even more-
we
a little bit
wouldn't.
more than that. 'Cause
We wouldn't, but it's difficult for a nonprofit like us to arrange financing too. That's another part of it that so far I've run up against walls with the banks.
Also, a lot of work to be done on the property here. The roof is bad, roof is old, the chimney is leaning and needs to be repaired. So we're looking at $20,000 to $30,000 probably.
At a minimum.
At a minimum.
You know,
repair.
when you also consider the floor, the joists under the floor, the supports under the floor beams are deteriorating.
Well, the house goes downhill.
The HVAC needs to be replaced in another year or two. That's the thing we found out. We had a really great house inspector
Okay.
in here on Friday. He spent 4 hours. He went through this whole place, and we found out that even if we buy it, there's probably $40,000 to $50,000 in repairs that we would have to do within the first 6 months.
Yeah.
I think
You know.
The foundation needs to be
A
rebuilt,
foundation alone,
which
I think
means
would
jacking
cost.
up the
The
house,
foundation is solid.
clearing out the
The
old
foundation needs a little bit of attention, but it's solid.
Okay.
What it is underneath the floor supports, like right under where we are here, not the outside foundation, but everything in the middle is deteriorating.
And Joe was talking, but we can barely hear him.
Let's hear what you have
Go
to
ahead,
say.
Joe.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yes,
About the foundation, can you repeat that?
yeah, the foundation is, it's rocks. That's it, it's rocks.
Yeah.
On soil.
Same stuff the
And
icebox is
for
made
right
of.
now, it seems stable because it's gone through several earthquakes, significant earthquakes, and the house is still standing.
Right.
However, if you look up and look around the house, you realize that there are settling cracks in the plaster line.
And we also found that there's moisture in the walls back here because the chimney is leaning, and so water is
Water
getting in
gets
around the
in.
flashing,
Yeah.
and so there's dampness in these walls too.
Now,
Yeah.
my thought is
None of which
if I owned the Adams house, I would just tear the chimney down, like down to a nub underneath the roof.
take back
and
those
just
few
patch
square
over it.
feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we don't have a fireplace anymore in the Adams house. Oh, that's very nice.
Thank goodness. Yeah, so there's a ton of challenges that we've only just recently discovered as far as this place. I love this place.
Do we want to try to save it?
You just read my mind.
That sounds to me
That's
like
right. That's the big question, and I put that question to the
do a
board, and the
fundraiser.
board was like,
Move, a moving
That's
"It's
exactly-
fundraiser.
probably going to be a cut and run situation." We've got some time. You know, let's say we've got March into April to see how things go and see how our fundraising comes along and see what other opportunities are presented to us from maybe the city or some of the local folks with a lot of money, right? So those kind of things can happen, and we'll continue to be beating on those doors all that we can. But our meeting here tonight really is just about, let's figure out what we can do as a group. Go ahead,
I
Laura.
got one. It's sort of evolving. Monica can pitch in on it too, because she and I talked about this. Somehow raffling off or raising awareness and money with a date with the DJ or lunch with the DJ. And
Who
so,
wants to go eat with this crew?
but I mean,
Hey,
it's,
if it's
it's
a
kind of
free
a little
meal.
high value package where, you know, we picked some of the DJs that are doing the show
Yeah,
here,
but who's
you know,
buying?
do it here in town. You get to go to lunch with them somewhere on, and
We'll
we'll
have
maybe
even lunch here.
lunch
So
here.
I'm
Right.
Yes.
thinking
I mean,
like- and
sometimes-
then, so if we're selling tickets, the money from
Yeah.
a little bit of the tickets would get the lunch,
Oh,
right?
yeah, right.
And then they could sit in on that person's show.
Exactly.
You would
Like
start
you
that
got
auction for that
deal,
day. You
Yes.
start that at
Yeah.
twice what the meal is worth,
Yeah.
right? Or a
Exactly.
multiple of what the
Yeah.
meal is
And I
worth.
figure, you know, we were talking about every DJ, every person that does a show
Has a fan base.
following, have a fan base. They would buy tickets, you know.
That's a
and
great idea.
I don't know, and you know, we can very easily print out tickets, and we could have other prizes, but the grand prize would be that.
Okay, I love that idea. That's something we can continue to work towards.
What if we were talking, I brought up the Christmas banquet when we got together for Christmas.
Yeah.
When Steve told us about the house and everything. I approached him on doing an art show, maybe a barbecue and music, but we have to have this done by May, like in May. So we were thinking about an indoor venue, maybe the governor's mansion again, art show, and that would be something we can raffle off there.
Right.
Okay, so
And-
we're raffling off the date with the DJ at the art show.
Not
would be a
necessarily. They might be
combination.
separate promotions.
It might be
Yeah.
separate
Yeah.
promotions.
At this point, I'm not
but
really
it-
into details.
Right,
I'm
got it,
more
got
into
it, yeah.
We're
ideas.
just throwing
That's
them
what it's all
around.
about.
I'm just saying, unless you have, you know, how are you going to promote that?
And it's definitely good to utilize things that the station is known for and is already championing. To, you know, so like a live music venue of some event of some sort.
And I'm sure we can, if we reach out to our underwriter base, Nashville Social Club, maybe we could do some show there, do a barbecue there or something like that, or maybe they cater a barbecue here and we have singer-songwriters out back. There's a lot of ways to
Or
go about this
sassafras.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yes?
I think that's a great idea,
Could we
you
give us-
guys too, is to collect the group of musicians that everybody is so familiar with, the different bands and stuff, maybe in the northern Nevada area, like a benefit.
You know, we
type
do a
concert.
lot for local music, and so I would expect local musicians would step up if we ask, right? So,
A battle of the bands.
There you go.
a battle of the bands.
Yeah.
I personally hate those because I've never won one.
Actually, a battle of the singer-songwriters in Carson City. We don't really have a lot of bands necessarily. We've got a lot of
We got a lot of
singer-songwriters.
Right.
singer-songwriters.
Okay, a music battle. We got that. We got 6 ideas, Greg.
Steve, you know, hey, they sell the names of all the football stadiums, right?
Naming issues, yeah.
How about we name our studio?
Well, I had thought about offering that up to Steve. You know, we could do it at the Hop and May Adams something or another, right? Yeah, naming rights. So I'll put that down, naming rights. You had something you wanted to say, didn't you?
Seems early, but I think we need to market to the whole population. And I may have read the room wrong, but I think we're a small group of liberal-minded people who are trying to raise money for the station. And the station creates great local shows, but we also have national shows that come from Pacifica. Pacifica is progressive-minded, so those national shows are progressive. So when I talk to people, I hear, I didn't know we had a radio station, or it's great, or I'll never support that station because it's liberal. So the reason that's a problem is because there's 17 counties in Nevada. 16 of them have more registered Republicans than Democrats. And if you have Carson City, Lyon County, Story County, and Douglas, which is
We're feeding, yeah, we're putting out to a red group.
there's in Carson City, if you go to Secretary of State's office, you can see 58% were Republican. If you get into the other ones, you're in the 70s. So we're trying to raise money from 35% of the possible population.
You know, I'm going to put it to the point where it's probably more like 55%, because you've got both progressives and independents who are going to fall into that very comfortable zone with us. But I think there's also plenty of programming on the air in our music, in our
It's
very
the-
local talk kind of
the local
stuff.
stuff
It goes
they
all
love.
around,
The
right?
Local
Stuff
stuff
is
they
tough.
love.
But it's a point that's made
It is
and,
a point, yeah.
and
Well,
respected.
this is
And I think we should be more neutral rather than left wing, so
Right.
so
But I
everybody
think
would donate.
We do have the rural Nevada show that just joined
Carson
us.
Rural Communities that we
Right.
just started.
Right,
It's,
you
it's
have-
a month
you
old.
have local,
Yeah.
We have local shows, but
We
you
celebrated the
have,
month.
you have a lot of progressive shows that
Hello.
make the conservatives just turn it right off and
Yeah,
never
so
come
to the
back.
truth, I talked to people who, I gave them the list of my blues show on Friday, and they say at 4 o'clock, I gotta turn you off, man.
I hear that too,
Yeah.
because right
I
after
can't
mine,
stand the
there's
show after
Rising
you.
of
I can
Somali
only say
and
about
Democracy
that.
Now.
You know, I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But in our mission, and we're not here to talk this kind of stuff actually,
Yeah.
but in our mission, we're here to provide the perspectives that you won't hear elsewhere.
Right.
Pacifica is exactly that.
Right.
And they have a long history of being that. And the
That's
programming, if you listen to it, it certainly is not the Republican point of view.
No,
And that's okay.
it's
And
it's
if
actually
people
a liberal
can't live
thing.
with that, that's their problem, not ours.
Oh, well, I'm just trying to market to 100%
I
rather
understand.
than 45%.
We want to market to the largest
Give them
group.
broader-
So that's why, when we talk about this stuff, we should talk about the music, about the perspectives,
That are local.
but not, and talk about localization, because that's what we're really all about.
And we want to grow that too, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Serving
I think
this
that
community.
if you could do 100% local programming that was,
Because whether you're Democrat or Republican or independent,
yeah,
and you live here, you love here,
yeah.
and you want to make this as good as it can be, and
Right.
as well connected as it can be.
That's
So-
the way to do it. Put locals where you have
Yeah.
Pacifica stuff,
Yeah.
or find neutral stuff.
All that's on the table as time goes by. We don't have enough
Right.
content at this point to even think about that. But I still think those perspectives, if you don't like democracy now, I'm kind of sorry. But if you listen to it, you're liable to learn something you won't get anywhere else. And that is illuminating, and that gives us all better perspective about everything that goes on in
Well,
our
I thought
lives.
of this because I had the experience that Rick had.
You know,
Right.
one thing that you guys offer on your radio station that I've not seen on anything else on the dial is just the amount of variety. You know, I mean,
Right.
It hasn't been like that since 100.1 the X.
Sean?
you got
If I may,
rock and roll with it, you got country
I'm
with
sorry,
it,
I
nothing
didn't get your
but
name,
rock.
sir. Joe. I think he makes a very valid point.
Absolutely.
However, in 3 months' time, we can't revamp the whole
No, we certainly
the whole
cannot.
station to appeal to. Your point's totally valid,
We
but
need to pay rent.
yeah, in
And I will
the,
tell you that.
that's the long view,
Yeah.
and for the continued survival of the station that we're talking about, we got 3 months to raise money.
Right.
Me personally, I am not a contractor by any shape, means, or form, but my wife and I love to watch home reno shows, and with the people talking about this place, my suggestion is buying this building should be completely off the table. These funds being raised should be applied to the long-term survival of the station with a home promised and guaranteed for 3 years.
Yeah.
That solves the problem.
Who
We
says
s-
yay?
I second that.
Yay!
All right, we're all on that same page then.
Why not raise as much money as we possibly can to rent the trucks and hire manpower if needed to move the station,
Right.
get moved,
I have a box truck.
Get reset up.
Awesome.
I
And I think
I know someone who has box trucks, but I don't know if I could get them, but I would be willing to ask.
When we were talking about this briefly, I pointed out,
What? Go
Obviously,
ahead.
we don't want to go.
Go ahead.
We don't want to go off the air
no,
No,
right,
for the move.
right.
So
Right.
It's going to take. We have to get some new codecs and rig up something so that sort of what's kind of a impromptu studio somewhere, so we can strip out the studio. That'll be the last thing to go and the first thing to get built in. But we need a new set of codecs so that we can talk to the transmitter pretty much from any location. I mean, we already have kind of a remote.
very good points. We've got about 15 minutes left in this Zoom meeting. And we'll do another gathering soon, and we'll talk about how that move is going to happen. But I agree with you, Joe. I think we have to build a studio that is basic but serviceable in the new location before we really tear this out and move it over there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start now.
And
Yeah.
and
Yes.
We build it in a third location where we can, I don't know, maybe some back office at the BAC or something.
Well, that's an option, of course, yeah. But that space that Steve Neighbors is talking about on Northgate, we could start building a studio over there tomorrow if we wanted to. Well, not tomorrow, 2 weeks from now, because I got to have a couple meetings with the Ron Wood people to just cement some relationships before we start moving in over there. But that's all good.
To finish a couple of quick thoughts, I believe the GoFundMe is labeled "Help Us Buy the House."
Yeah.
I don't know who's in charge of that. My suggestion would also be change the name to
Or save the station.
Save the
Save the
Station.
Station.
Help us move.
right.
Moving day, something tied into moving.
Right.
I
And,
think it's save KNVC buy the house. We just drop by the
In
house.
Studio C5, in Studio C5, we've been talking about things like rummage sales and maybe some additional movie
Let's sell
screens.
CDs.
Well, we've talked about all this stuff that's here and anything that's not needed for the station, but that is sitting here getting dusty, like cool vinyl that never gets played, movies that are gathering dust.
That would be helpful.
There are hundreds, if not a few $1,000s, probably sitting in this building.
Losing the house is gonna leave C5 homeless.
However,
Well, that's something that you and I need to talk about separately. I've been thinking about that for a long time.
Okay, well,
The
we wanted
CDs
to
you
have
can't
our
sell.
get rid of
Joe's
that
talking.
stuff.
because that's part of the deal from KUNR.
Say that again, Joe.
The CDs, those 12,000 CDs we have, we can't sell them.
Okay.
If that's part of the deal of
Well-
KUNR, we got them from KUNR, and the deal is that these are promos from labels,
Sure.
and you're breaking a deal with the label if you wind up selling them. So we have
That
to
makes
give them
sense.
I
away.
think we could overcome that if we put a little time and energy into it.
We could also
But-
donate our own. We would call Clean Our House and
Right.
donate.
And we
CDs.
could ask everybody in the community who's got 20 boxes of albums or CDs in their garage to come bring them to a music rummage sale.
music
and
swap.
we take a percentage of it, right?
Yes,
60-40 split or something.
Tiger
5
Rose
minutes.
Records. Tiger Rose Records could do the music swap.
Time? We're running out of time.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
All right, so let's get last minute ideas on the board.
How much
Peter.
is it going to cost to build a studio?
That's a good question, Joe. What's it going to cost to build a studio?
How much money you got? Yeah.
We're getting there.
So that's our new build a
We
studio.
have most
say
of the gear.
KNVC.
We have the
We
gear,
have most of the
right?
gear.
We can build a studio, I think, at a pretty reasonable rate.
Oh, okay.
It's a matter of getting some carpenters in there to build counters and storage space and that sort of thing. Then we install the gear we already have, say, in our other production rooms, and we could get a studio up and running pretty quickly.
Okay.
Right?
Great.
So I think we can overcome those hurdles as well.
Yeah, we have the old board. We can
We
use that.
also
Right, we have an old board that we
Right.
could repurpose, yes.
Say that, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. We have that old board.
Yep. So I think we have, the equipment we need to do a good job and make us something that will help us bridge the gap just so that we're not dark at any point in the process.
Functional.
Functional. There you go. That's how we want. Functional. That's right. We love that. Okay. Any other ideas as far as quick fundraising? Yes, Monica.
This is off the subject of fundraising, but I do want to throw this out there. When I had a meeting with Dean from the Carson Nugget,
Yeah.
he asked, and this was before this whole thing came up, if we were paying rent to our studio space.
Right.
And he was looking like he was going to offer us studio space if we needed it.
On
So
the
he
casino
might
floor?
be at the what's that?
And we've had that conversation a couple of times. Just to real
and I don't
quickly
know
on
what
that.
I don't know what he has
Really quickly
there,
on
but-
that. I just don't see us being in a casino.
Okay.
Right. Because a casino's going to want from us things that our license won't allow us to give them.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I just think that that's the problem, and we'll run into that, and that thing will come to a screeching halt at some
Gotcha.
point. But I love the fact that he's
Yeah.
thinking about how he can help.
Yeah.
Welcome, Jim.
Hi.
We're just talking about having a music rummage sale.
Okay.
That's one of the things on the board. Got any ideas that you want to dump in here before this Zoom is over?
In case it is not already mentioned, I sort of have always I came back to Carson City from Southern California, where the college and community radio stations do this model where they go around to local businesses and get concessions from the businesses, and so, like, for example, so I have a record store, so we could give $100 gift certificate to the station, and somehow you guys get it for $40 or something like that.
It's actually
so somebody who calls in as a listener,
right?
We say for $100 donation, we'll give you $100 gift
And honest-
certificate. So it feels like you're getting
A
something.
real
for-
fun drive on the air.
Yeah.
And we could do it as an auction even on here. We could have people bid.
Steve.
Yeah.
Just reminding you, the college has got a lot of open classrooms, so the kids aren't going to school, they're doing everything online. You could probably get a big room over there.
For whatever we want to do.
Yeah.
And the
profit, they probably make it swing.
The governor's mansion, we have a date set in May over there, so that's another location. So on air auctions. Okay, so we've got now, ideas are online bingo, adapt the GoFundMe, date with a DJ, art show, barbecue and music events.
There's more to it. It's
A music battle, the naming rights on the new studio, music sale, and on-air auction. That there's 2, 4, 6, there's 9 ideas here. We need one more to make it even 10. Who's got one?
Just the idea that for what you donate to the station, you get something from a local business.
Right.
That's the same value, but the station still gets more
Wait,
than
wait,
what the value is.
wait,
I wish we could do a bake sale.
Go ahead, Ken. What?
Go ahead.
It's tough here.
Those are great ideas. Right off the top of my head, I can't think of something else.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I had one thing.
But those
Yes.
are wonderful ideas.
Thank you. It's going to disconnect in a second.
And they go to different locations.
Next time we can do my Zoom. I have 30,000 hours a year.
And she has actually done things
Like
where
we
they
were
give a
talking
percentage
So
for
trivia
nonprofits,
parties.
and it's called DJ Trivia.
DJ
So,
Trivia.
like, if you
Oh, yeah, it's on
go
Carson Air. I
to,
was looking at
you know,
that.
Kansas State,
might get
participate in
fundraising,
trivia.
but I don't know.
DJ trivia
That's a
party.
good idea.
With specific regard to Nashville Social Club, they have music events all the time. So
Right.
something that they could offer is like free tickets to a 4-pack of shows in the upcoming year, and it's $100. And even if one of the shows they're charging $35 for that show, you got your 4-pack of tickets, and there's some way for us to work that out. With
Creating
them on the back
value
end.
around music events that
Right.
people are willing to pay for.
Yeah.
Right. All great ideas, you guys, and thank you. We've got some stuff we can start working with. Yes, Rhonda.
C5 could host a film event or film festival or a drive-in.
Oh, I love the drive-in.
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 We were going to do
Sexy.
movies at my house.
Radio
I
related
live in Boone.
Oh, like FM,
Yeah.
that movie.
Radio.
Good Morning Vietnam.
Radio.
Good Morning Vietnam.
Jr.
Those movies, right? That's what you're talking about.
Money
That's
Pit
right.
would be a good one.
All right.
Tom Hanks, Money Pit.
Just as a matter of course,
American
it is in
Graffiti.
my plan to visit all of our underwriters in the next couple of weeks and give them some ideas about how they can help us as well and get them in on it, either in a way of a donation of actual money or a donation of goods and services
Or a
that we can use
sponsorship
for
of
some
one
of
of
these
these.
purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, we've got about 4 more minutes before this runs out.
Just remember that every single aspect of this will have great publicity value.
Right.
Both on social media, I've been trying to build up our newsletter email lists and get that.
Newsletters have been brilliant.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah.
I agree.
And, so if you have, pass those on to a friend too. And you'll notice, because I hear you, those newsletters do not represent the sort of the newsy side of the station. They really focus on the local, and us.
That's what people love.
Yeah. So,
And that's where our strength really is. It's in this group and everybody else who wasn't able to make it here tonight. I mean, when it comes right down to it, we've got 52 people registered as volunteers for us, and with a little bit of energy from everybody, we can get a whole lot done. Thank you all for bringing your ideas. Please eat some of this stuff I bought, because I bought it with station money. So eat it up, and thank you very much. We'll wrap this up for now, and we will have a part 2 coming up soon, and we'll get together and talk about maybe delegating some responsibilities on some of these items to move the ball forward.
What
Okay?
about when you get whatever we're gonna do, not only on this, but each one of us a list so we can promote it on our shows?
Yeah, I'll do. Of course, that'll come out. You
Yeah,
bet.
so we can throw that out there in each show as well.
You know what, Steve, too, maybe getting groups together.
Well, good night, everyone.
Three
Thank you.
or whatever.
Good night.
Good night, Ken.
Yeah, to work on the
Take care,
different
you
ones.
guys.
Good night.
Yeah.
You know,
To
like,
create
Good night,
smaller
Phil.
groups.
have small groups.
Thank you.
Blessings.
You could be working on multiple.
I
Right.
do think that a small group could get together and say, when are we going to go public with the message that we're not saving the Adams House?
We need 2 weeks.
Okay.
We
all
need
right.
2 weeks to verify a few things
Yeah.
that will solidify some of these offers of help.
Gotcha.
Right. So as soon as we know for sure we have that space to move to over on Northgate, I think at that point we're ready to move forward.
But I am subconsciously tweaking the message to kind of prepare people.
Right, to soften up the,
It's more about saving the station.
because I think in the messaging we've never actually said it's only about buying the house. Just help us buy the house. Help us save the radio
Help us
station.
build a home at this point.
Yeah. like Greg said in that interview in the appeal, if we have to get a shabby double wide and put it out in the desert, that's what we're going to end up doing, right? Whatever we have to do to make it work.
Big old antenna.
Whatever we have to do to keep it alive. The thing is, we've got a whole lot of goodwill in this community, and yes, I know there are some who, for their own political reasons or their own cultural reasons, don't resonate with everything we do. I think we offer something for everybody, and we can lean on anybody who's willing to give. And I'm always willing. I'd love to have somebody come on here and make intelligent conservative talk for Carson City on this radio station. Nobody has come out of the woodwork to offer that up. I would love to. If you know anybody, let me know.
I don't.
Anybody who knows anybody like that, let me know.
Do they have to
I don't think
be-
We should try to balance it. Just
Do-
neutral news would be best.
But that's
But
But that doesn't fit our mission, though,
Yeah.
right? Our mission, the FCC doesn't license us to be neutral. They license us to fill the gaps in perspective and in entertainment and in information. We're here to do what the commercial radio stations and TV stations won't, because they have a profit margin they have to deal with. We don't have that. It gives us a lot more freedom to do what we want.
Is this space that Steve Neighbors is offering, is it in the Ron Wood, or is it next to Ron Wood?
It's in that same building
But it's
on the north end.
Okay, so
not
it's
in
next.
their unit.
It's
No, not
next.
in, well, they have half of that building that's right on the street, right? You know them well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know them well, I know where it is.
Yeah, but they have like half of that building. And they want to expand into some space in that building for storage and stuff. They're running out of space. And Steve is like, work with Joyce, Figure out how the two of you guys could cohabitate in there, and you have the space for free.
So would it be a separate door to go in?
Oh yeah, there's totally a separate door. Because, you know, the way it's set up, it was originally set up for multiple retail. And so there are probably 8 doors along the front of that building. Not all, most of them are locked and you can't get through them because most of them are for Ron Wood and they just have one entry. But we would have our own door.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we could, it's already been talked about, as long as we can figure out the engineering of it, we could put a generator on the roof and, you know, harden our public service infrastructure the way we've been wanting to all along. And we can put antennas on that roof with no problem.
It's a very generous offer.
It's an extremely generous.
I was gonna suggest you contact Steve Neighbors, but you did it already.
Well, you know, I know Steve just
Oh, there you go.
from other things that we bumped into each other over the years about, because he's always been around here trying to do things, right? And he's, you know, he's a big player. And when I knew he was coming here, I said, well, I'll see you at the State of the City address. And so we were there and we talked there. And then we got together here and I showed him around and he said, let's go get in my truck, let's go. I'm gonna show you something. And he took me up to that building and showed me around. And yes, it's not the perfect place for us to be, but it certainly is a great offer for a temporary home.
Fantastic.
Especially if he gets that project approved and we can start thinking about having really state-of-the-art facility right in the middle of downtown, which would just be the ultimate if it could come together. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I'm gonna turn this off.
Okay, thank you.